Welcome back to the all boss variant speedrun. I have just killed enraged dragonfly, and since I was short on time earlier, I had forgotten to place down the astral detector again to locate the lunar island, so let's do that now. That's pretty unfortunate, since I need to move all the altar pieces over there, meaning I need to sail halfway around the entire world. But let's not worry about that for now. It's nearly day 24 already, meaning the Klaus, where our next boss fight will take place, is guaranteed to have spawned in either the Mosaic biome or one of the two deciduous forests. Since we're right next to the Mosaic, I figured we should start there. Would you look at that, the suspicious boulder has spawned. The boulder spawning habit is complete RNG before day 60, and since we needed to spawn way before that, I opted to set the meteor frequency to tons to eliminate this complete RNG part of the run. Right here I find another wormhole, but I won't go through it just yet until we have explored the biome some more. Oh, let's go! The Klaus was here. Since we're gonna be fighting soon, I might as well throw down a dwarf star right now, with a star color staff to heat up. And while we're at it, I should leave the gear we need for the fight, so I don't need to bring it here when it's time. What is that I spy off the coast? A bottle? This bottle must be retrieved, since it contains a map to the Krabby Hermit Island, where we'll want to go very shortly to help out with some tasks. Splendid! The island is right on the path we were gonna take to the lunar island anyways. This will save us a lot of time. If you're wondering why I just didn't fight Klaus immediately, it's because I need to find another item to start the fight. The item in question is a deer antler, meaning we'll need to find the deer that also spawn in the same biomes as the sack. It is, however, statistically less likely that they spawn in the same biome, meaning I will head home to drop off some stuff, since we live in the deciduous forest. And while we're at it, let's also check out the wormhole. Wow, I really never went through this one. I've ran past here like 5 times by now. Well, at least we're close to the base. First order of business is to put down the scaled furnace we obtained from Dragonfly. Then it's time to celebrate, because that's a pumpkin plant. Wigfrid might not care, but I definitely do, since, if you remember, without it I would have to reset the whole run. I'm also getting sick of freezing all the time, so I want a Tam O'Shanter from the hunting party. Looks like it wasn't my time yet. Okay, I take that back. Now it's my time to party, since the deer were right here. With everything in hand, it's already time to fight Klaus. Really nice. Wigfrid can finish that fight on full health thanks to the ballad. When we head back home to open our presents, we also need to dig up 8 berry bushes for the tasks I mentioned earlier. I should have really stopped to mine that ice as well, but I didn't, and will instead have to make it without ice for an entire year. Now, what do we get? What? A mandrake? If I was a pan flute user, that would have been good. And an egg? Looks like Santa only gave me wax paper this year. Nighttime is coming up, and that is the time for us to use the terrarium we found early in the first episode to fight the Eye of Terror. That was pretty sloppy, but let's just say I strategically broke my last helmet to have room for the eye mask we get from the fight. Since the helmets are so cheap, I won't be super careful not to break it, however. I pack a bunch of stuff for Pearl's tasks and use a pumpkin to make a scarecrow before it rots. Now I want my tab! It is time for some seafaring escapades, and for now a grass raft will suffice. Since we drop the altar pieces off next to a driftwood piece, I can immediately upgrade my ore. In fact, the grass raft is required here, since we are way down a narrow river, which the wood raft can't even fit through. Now I was stupid enough and didn't bring my moggles, so I don't have a lot of light. I will now have to make sure my thermal stone is hot enough to provide light during nighttime, meaning, while out on the ocean, I will need to cast dwarf stars. My thermal stone light is going out now, but daytime is just around the corner, so I'll just float for 20 seconds instead of casting a star for now. This course of action turned out to be very profitable when I spot salt formations on my map. Here lives the mildly disturbing cookie cutters, whose shells I will eventually need to complete one of the hermit tasks, and I might as well gather them now. The shells have a 50% chance to drop from each cookie cutter I kill, and so I managed to clean out the entire place, only getting 7 shells. I need 10. Cookie cutters take 90 seconds to respawn at each spawner, so I lost another 4 minutes farming them. Whatever. Now it's time to paddle to Pearl's Island. To obtain the coveted Pearl's Pearl, we need to complete 10 different tasks for Pearl. Since it's snowing, I can give her a vest for one task. Another easy one is to hang some meat on her drying racks. Back in the ruins, if you remember, we killed a resting horror that gave us a chair blueprint. After building it, however, Pearl isn't super satisfied, and she teaches us to build a better chair, and only when we do that, it's another task in the books. 3 more tasks come from upgrading Pearl's home, but I used all my boards on the chair, so I can't do that just yet. It's okay though, since I can just leave the materials I do have right here for now. The final task I will be able to do on this first trip is planting and fertilizing 8 berry bushes, but I didn't have enough fertilizer. Before I leave, I gather 2 moonglass shards and 1 moonmoth wing, which will come into play very soon. We are done here for now, and to drastically cut down the traveling time, I brought down a telelocator staff that teleports you to a random spot on the map. Or just right next to base, that works too. Before it spoils, I turn the moonmoth wing I just grabbed into another battle song, the Clear-Minded Cadenza. This song restores 1 sanity every single time you hit something, and it is, in my opinion, the best song in the entire game for that reason. The next big raid boss I want to work towards is none other than Misery Toadstool. I will need morning stars that I craft with the goat horns we gathered in the last episode. I want a piggyback to be able to bring all the stuff in one trip. Next are the fire staves, but for now I'll only craft 1, just to learn the recipe, since the materials required to make them take up less space than the crafted staves themselves. To summon Misery Toadstool and to craft the item he unlocks, I need to catch canaries. Then they need to be poisoned, which I can only do by keeping them in cages in the caves. Yes, it is as horrible as it sounds. But now Deerclops is coming, so I need to deal with that first. Thank you so much for all the wood, Deerclops. I will make sure to turn your eye into an umbrella. Since it's a full moon, I stuck around to wait for Glommer to spawn, since we will eventually need the goop he produces for secret boss activities. But you have waited long enough. It's now time to find Toadstool's cap. Many people struggle to find this elusive cap, but not those who subscribe to my secret exploration tricks. There are 3 places he can spawn in. One of them is guaranteed to be in the orange mud biome, but I found that one empty when I was looking for spiders in the first episode. Second hole will look the same, but will be in one of 3 biomes, and the final one will always have guano turf. This one can also be in one of 3 biomes, and I found it in the lobster biome. This means the true and final spawner will be in either the green mush tree forest or the stalagmite biome, and since my green mush tree forest seemed to be kinda squished by my cave exit, I figured it's most likely to be in the stalagmite biome. Now, I haven't found that biome yet, and I need to do this anyways at some point, so I decided to check out some tentapillars, or the cave equivalent to wormholes. To kill them, I use Hutch socketed with a spear and a light to speed up the killing process significantly. Unfortunately, they didn't take me there, so I just went on foot to the last big branch I haven't checked out yet. Excellent. When the cap spawns in this biome, there is a high likelihood that it spawns at the very back of this biome, which is also why people have trouble finding the cap. But I just run straight through the biome until I find it. It only took me a day, even though it was on the complete far side of the map in the worst possible location it could. Now, I must wait for the canaries to get poisoned, which shouldn't take long, but I still have some other preparations to do. I find a tentapillar that will bring me back to base faster, and I also mine some stalagmites for 3 blue gems and 3 fossils. You may think I'm doing my own 3 spore cap strategy for this fight. After all, I made a guide about it and brought just about the same stuff. But no, I have another brilliant strategy I would like to share that our world generation seems to allow for. Let's go. The first part of the strategy is surprisingly precise. We want to walk Toadstool as far as possible, then we want to freeze him, and then move him by placing fossils at his feet. In this step, it is very important to keep hitting him with the ice staves before he starts shaking. If you do this, it will restart the freeze timer, but should you fail, then he immediately stops being frozen, meaning you have to freeze him all over again, but it now also requires more ice staff uses, since Toadstool builds up a freeze resistance. He is now in position, meaning we can start the fight for real. Toadstool now gets stuck behind this chasm and can't do anything except spawning spore caps. When he does, I want to chop one and burn all the rest, so that Toadstool only has 50% damage resistance instead of 99% damage resistance, which would be ridiculous. You may notice me unequipping my hat over and over. This is a technique called animation cancelling that basically lets me attack faster by removing the final part of each attack animation. This was, however, the first time I've ever tried this technique, meaning I probably did it wrong, but seeing as I don't do much more than hitting, I figured it would be a good time to start practicing. I'm sure knowing it would be helpful in future challenge runs. Even though this strategy seems like a piece of cake, it's still slower than my 3 spore cap strategy, since we mostly hit Toadstool when he has 50% damage resistance instead of the 25% damage resistance he would have in that strategy. And that gets even worse on rounds like this, when all the spore caps land in the spore clouds, meaning I can't even chop them. I recommend that you bring moonglass axes to this fight instead of fire staves for that reason. Now that I think of it, this could have been done much better. I got so many rounds without damage here. With that said, this is the first time I've ever tried this strategy, since I literally came up with it on the spot 15 minutes ago, when I saw the world generation. I finally figured out, however, that I should chop the closer trees and only burn the far ones to stop the caps from landing in the clouds. That was absolutely horrendous. I had to finish that fight with an axe. But I still laughed out loud when he pulled that Uno reverse card on me and jumped over the chasm, so... Whatever, let's just craft the knapsacks and get back to the surface. It is time for the next boss on this list, Moose Goose. I have absolutely no respect for this boss whatsoever, or her babies, so I just fought them all unarmored. I want to kill at least 3 mooses in total, and I will alternate each kill with some Volt Goat farming. I need the horns for the weather panes that the goose feathers let me craft. During the second fight, the frogs showed up by raining down on our day. I just let Moose Goose take care of them for the free froglings. After almost 3 days of farming, I walk away with a stack of froglings and around 40 feathers. That's awesome. It's now day 41, meaning we must immediately head over to fight the shadow pieces, since they can only be fought every 20 days on a new moon, and we need to fight them 3 times during the run. The fight will be the usual level 3 rook, but there definitely happens some shenanigans during the fight for sure. Enjoy.
Inhuman Reactions!
Wow, 3 stacks of frog legs. This will cover the rest of the run for sure. I don't even have the inventory space to pick up all the loot. Can you guess what I thought of as the solution to that problem? No? Well, I went to kill a bee queen for the bundling wrap, and it was an absolute dumpster fire. Long story short, hounds came. They bit me when I only had a beekeeper hat on. I switched to my battle helmet. That helmet immediately broke, and bee queen hit me twice unarmored as well. A bunch of time down, I then tried to fight again, but with not enough armor, not enough wetness, and not full health. Yay! Well, considering all the setbacks I had from the Hound incident, I think I handled that fight pretty well. Apart from wasting 2 knapsacks, of course. Feeding Bee Queen rewards me with a bundling rab blueprint that preserves food indefinitely. This is huge since it lets me keep all the 120 frog legs that would otherwise go to waste in 6 days. The jelly beans I'll now be able to cook with the royal jelly are also a huge convenience, although I can't use them in boss fights. And we won't even talk about the Bee Queen crown since it's banned. Anyway, that was all I had for you today, where we cleared 6 more bosses from the list. Next time I will reach and fight the Celestial Champion, which is the final boss of the game. But until then, enjoy life.